Good afternoon, everyone. Mario Quintero here with the One Stop Shop, produced by MariosHomeNews.com. Really happy you could join me today. Today, we're going to talk about what you need to know about hurricane season regarding preparedness and whether you're currently in a real estate transaction and how a hurricane coming towards South Florida could affect your transaction. So there's two sides to this coin, and one of the reasons I do this time of the year is because we usually have here in Florida many new residents that are not familiar with hurricanes. They come from the Northeast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and they've never experienced this. And I got to tell you that when I moved down here 34 years ago, it took Hurricane Andrew to convince me that we needed to take these things serious. You know, I was the type of person, I thought that masking tape on the windows would be the answer, and I was completely very wrong. So some of the things we're going to talk about here today is, first of all, I've gone through just about every storm that's come through South Florida in the last 34 years. So after Andrew, I took hurricanes extremely serious, and my house is like a little fort, and I always have extra supplies to prepare when these kind of storms are announced. So the most important thing first is to protect your family. Besides protecting your family, you want to protect your home, which is the biggest investment that we have. So some of the things that you could do to prepare your home is, right now would be a great time to do it, or leading up to the June starting date of hurricane season, is to trim your trees. Trim as much of your landscaping as you can, because that will minimize the amount of debris that could possibly go into your house, or around your whole home, or wherever it is. Trimming trees, especially large trees, is very important that you do this. We did this back in May. We usually do it in May, a month before hurricane season, but right now we just dodged a storm here on the east coast of South Florida, and you still have time to do it now before the next one, because we will have several more storm warnings between now and the end of October. The other thing is, make sure, if your family members take medicines, that you have enough medicines when a storm is announced, that you have sufficient supplies for the next 30 days. You need to have water, batteries, canned foods on hand, paper products, and ice is very important, because if we lose power, you can put your meats and some of your dairy products in a cooler, fill it up with ice, and it'll maintain itself maybe for a couple of 2 to 3 days while the power comes back. You should also have, if you have a gas grill, have an extra tank of gas available for your grill, because you may not be able to cook in the house if you have electric stove and oven. So a lot of people do grill outside in the yard during this time with a power outage. So you really need to expect anywhere from 3 to 10 days without power. Unless you have a generator, then some of this stuff doesn't apply. But most people don't have generators, so they will have to cook outside in the yard. And 3 to 10 days is about an average time, depending on the severity of the storm. So these are all things that you really need to take serious, because I got to tell you, it's not a fun time when you don't have power and you don't know when it's coming back. So it's better to be prepared than to go through extra frustration that you could prepare for ahead of time. And that's one of the good things about technology and the experience that the state of Florida has with hurricanes, is they really give us enough time to prepare for these storms. They usually start talking about 3 or 4 days ahead of time. And, sometimes they hit, sometimes they don't, which is a good thing. However, you do have sufficient time to prepare, and it's never too early to prepare. So if you don't have a lot of the things I just talked about, I would suggest that you start preparing, because we will get hit by some kind of storm or multiple storms between now and October. Again, take this warning very serious. These storms can be deadly. Hurricane Andrew, when it hit South Florida, the Homestead area, and south of Killian Parkway back in 1992. Actually, it was August 24th, 1992. They never really published the amount of people that died during that storm, but I got to tell you, it was an extremely devastating storm to the South Miami, South Dade County area. If you live east of US 1 and I-95, you may need to evacuate depending on the severity of the storm, and you need to have a backup plan as to where you're going to go in the event that you are required to evacuate. Whether you go to a friend's home, whether you go to family's home, you need to have a plan. You can't wait till the last minute to find out that you need to evacuate because a major storm is coming, and then find out that you have nowhere to go. One of the things that we've seen over the years is that once we know for sure that the storm is coming, the roads leading out of Florida get backed up, and you will never be able to get out. It'll be too late. So you have to have that plan in place so that you don't get stuck on the road with a major storm coming that could create a lot of damage while you and your family are inside your car. You don't want to get caught in that predicament. So let's talk about if you're in a real estate transaction or you're getting ready to close while the storm is on its way. So the first thing they're going to announce is they're going to announce whether your area is what they call in the box. The box means that geographic area that is basically designated by FEMA and the insurance industry and everybody involved basically determines that everything's going to be delayed for that area. Insurance cannot be bound, and there's going to be delays. So you need to expect that in the event that you're in the middle of a transaction. Don't get frustrated, and you'll need to be able to go with the flow, and the professionals that you're dealing with will guide you through that process. So after the storm passes, the lender can request a re-inspection of the property, which is going to create your first delay. And the lender's going to want that re-inspection report to make sure that there has been no damage that was not there prior to the storm coming through. The insurance company may also request a re-inspection of the property to make sure that the property still qualifies for the insurance policy that you're planning to purchase and that is required by the lender. In the event that damage did occur during the storm to the property that you're buying, you will have options, and it is stated in the Florida contract what options you have, and it's written right in there as to what options both the buyer has and what option the seller has, and you may need to renegotiate certain things at that point. So that is why you really need to be working with experienced realtors and lenders so that if this does occur, that you have the correct guidance to get you through that part of the transaction. Your closing will definitely be delayed. Your rate lock could be affected because maybe you had a rate lock that was going to expire in the next 7 to 10 days. The storm comes through, damage occurs, now your rate lock expires, you may have to pay to extend that rate lock. There's a multitude of turbulences that can occur to the transaction if the home that you're buying or selling, and this goes for the sellers too, there could be a multitude of things that can go wrong at that point if the home is damaged while you're waiting to close. So these are all things that are gonna be part of the transaction and that you need to be ready for. So if you're buying a house between now and the end of October, you need to be prepared for all of these things. Personally, I don't like to travel outside the area. I like to be close by within a 3 or 4 hour drive during this period of time in the event that I got to come back home and take care of my property and take care of different things, because it's scary to be traveling outside the state and all of a sudden you're watching TV and you hear that a Category 5 is coming to your area. So keep all these things in mind, plan properly during this period of time. July, we're almost halfway through July, so we got August, September, October, and a couple of weeks in July. And I got to tell you, we will be in a situation where these things that I talked about today, you're going to need to put in place. So I appreciate you listening in today. Feel free to forward this video to your friends and family on social media. I do have a couple of other hurricane preparedness videos on my website, which is marioshomenews.com. In fact, the entire library for the last 2.5 years is on that website of all my live videos and pre-filmed videos. So once again, feel free to forward them on. And I hope you guys have a great weekend. And if you have any questions, you can always give me a call at the office, 305-598-1600, or on my cell, 305-588-0451. Mario Quintero with the One Stop Shop, produced by marioshomenews.com. Thank you and make it a great day.